My fiancé asked for a break 3 months before our wedding, vanished for weeks without responding. I drove 3 hours and found her with her ex. But when I moved on, she came back furious and obsessed. What I did next left her speechless. I'm 29 years old. I work in digital marketing, and 3 months ago, I was about to marry who I thought was the love of my life. Now I'm here, single, trying to rebuild my life, and there are still days when I wake up and can't believe all of this actually happened. I guess I should start from the beginning, or at least from when things started falling apart, because honestly I need to get this all off my chest, and maybe writing it down will help me process it once and for all. Nicole and I had been together for like 4 years when I proposed. It was in December, at this Italian restaurant she loved. You know, the typical romantic place with candles and the whole deal. And when I gave her the ring, she cried and hugged me and said, "Yes," like 1,000 times. I remember thinking, this is it. That's it. I found my person. We started planning the wedding for July. She was super excited about the preparations. We spent hours looking at venues for the reception, tasting cakes, all those things engaged couples do. Everything seemed perfect. I mean, we had our normal arguments like any couple, but nothing serious. Nothing that made me think something was wrong. In March, Nicole told me she needed to go to her hometown for a couple of weeks. Her mom was organizing some family event or whatever and needed her help, plus she wanted to catch up with her high school friends and all that. It seemed completely normal to me, like, obviously she wanted to spend time with her family before the wedding. The town was like 3 hours away by car. It was no big deal. I took her to the bus station on a Friday morning. We said goodbye with a kiss, and she told me I love you. See you in 2 weeks. I told her drive carefully. I'll miss you. The typical stuff you tell your girlfriend when she goes on a trip. The first few days everything was fine. We talked on the phone every night. She sent me pictures of what she was doing, told me she'd seen so-and-so and what's his name, normal stuff. But like on the 4th day I noticed she was weird, like distracted when we talked. I asked her if everything was okay and she said yes, just that she was tired with all the family hustle. I didn't think much of it, honestly. But then came Saturday of that week and she called me. I still remember her tone of voice perfectly. That tone like nervous but trying to sound casual. She told me, "Chris, I need to talk to you about something." And you know, automatically my brain jumped to the worst, but I tried to stay calm and told her, "Sure, tell me what's up." Nicole dropped on me that she needed a break, just like that. She said that being in her town, she had realized she needed time to think about us, about the wedding, about her life in general. That everything had been too fast and she needed space to clear her mind. I literally went mute for a few seconds. Like, what do you mean a break? 2 weeks ago you said yes to marriage and now you need to think? I asked her if something had happened, if I had done something wrong, but she just kept repeating it. Wasn't my fault. That she just needed time for herself. She hung up saying she was going to call me soon, not to worry, that she just needed a few days. A few days turned into a week. Then 2. I texted her, called her, and nothing. Total silence. At first I thought, okay, maybe she really needs space and I should respect that. But after 10 days of knowing absolutely nothing about her, I started to panic. I wrote her things like, "Nicole, please just tell me you're okay. You don't have to talk to me, but at least confirm you're alive." Nothing. It was like she had evaporated. My friends told me something weird was going on, that nobody disappears like that out of nowhere, especially when they're engaged and planning a wedding. Tyler, my best friend, told me, "Man, this isn't normal. Something's happening and you need to find out what." After 2.5 weeks of total silence, I couldn't take it anymore. It was a Saturday morning, and I woke up with this feeling in my chest that I had to do something. I couldn't keep waiting for her to decide to give me signs of life. So, I did something that was probably impulsive but necessary. I got in the car and drove the 3 hours to her town. I didn't tell her I was coming. I had no idea where I was going to find her. I just knew I had to see her face to face and demand an explanation. During the whole drive, I kept thinking what I was going to say to her, how she was going to react, if she was going to receive me with open arms or if she was going to tell me to go to hell. I arrived at like 11 in the morning and went straight to her mom's house. I knocked on the door and her mom opened. She looked super uncomfortable seeing me, like she clearly knew something I didn't know. I asked her if Nicole was there and she told me no, that she had gone out early and she didn't know where. I asked if she could give me her number or tell me where I could find her, and she just told me, "I'm sorry, Chris. I think you should talk to Nicole directly. I can't get involved in this." That confirmed to me that something serious was definitely going on. I stood there at the entrance like an idiot for a moment, not knowing what to do, until I decided to go to a cafe downtown and wait, because I knew eventually I was going to see her. It was a small town. I didn't have to wait long. At like 2 in the afternoon, I saw her walking down the main street, and she wasn't alone. She was with a guy, they were walking together, he had his hand on her lower back, and she was laughing at something he had just said. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. I got up from the cafe and went out to the street, walked straight towards them, and when Nicole saw me, her face went completely pale. The guy realized something was up and backed away a bit, and Nicole told me, "Chris, what are you doing here?" With a voice that was a mix of surprise and guilt. I told her, "Are you seriously asking me what I'm doing here?" "Nicole, you've been almost 3 weeks without talking to me. We're engaged and you disappeared without explanation." She looked at the guy and told him, "Give me a minute," and he walked away but looking back every 2 seconds. Nicole tried to touch my arm, but I pulled away and told her, "Who is he?" She stayed quiet for a moment and then said, "He's Jake, my ex-boyfriend from high school." And there I knew everything. Like I didn't need to hear more to understand what had happened the last 3 weeks, but still, I let her talk. She told me that when she got to town, she ran into him at the supermarket, or I don't know where. They started talking. He suggested having coffee to catch up, and one thing led to another. She said she had always been left with the doubt of what would have happened if they hadn't broken up when she left for college, that she needed to explore those feelings before marrying me, because she didn't want to have those doubts the rest of her life. I asked her if they had been together all this time, and she didn't answer directly. She just said she had spent time with him, and that was the reason she needed the break. I was standing there in the middle of the street feeling like my world was falling apart, literally shaking with rage and pain, and the only thing I managed to tell her was, "You know what, Nicole? I think I also need time to think." I got in the car and drove back home. I don't remember much of the trip, just that I cried like half the way, and that I had to stop at a gas station because I couldn't see well from the tears. When I got to my apartment, it was nighttime. I threw myself on the couch and stayed there, I don't know how many hours, just staring at the ceiling and trying to process everything. How was it possible that the person I was going to marry in 4 months had done this to me? How was it possible that she had asked for a break just to go fool around with her ex? And what kind of person does that to someone they love or are supposed to love? During the following weeks, it was like living in a horrible limbo. Nicole sent me messages every so often. Vague things like, "I need more time," or "This is more complicated than I thought," but never anything concrete. Never a real apology or a complete explanation. I responded the minimum. Like, "Okay," or "I understand," because honestly, I didn't know what else to say. My friends told me I had to break up with her once and for all, that it was obvious she was playing with me, that I couldn't let her treat me like that. Kara, one of my friends, was particularly blunt. She told me, "Chris, wake up. She's using you as plan B in case things don't work out with the other guy. Do you really want to marry someone like that?" Like 5 weeks had passed since that confrontation in her town, when suddenly, on a Wednesday afternoon, there was a knock on my apartment door. I opened, and there was Nicole, with 2 suitcases, smiling as if nothing had happened. She told me, "Hi, my love. I'm back. I missed you so much," and tried to hug me, but I moved aside. I asked her what she was doing there, and she told me she had finished her reflection time, that she had cleared her mind, that she realized I was who she wanted to be with, and that we could resume the wedding plans. Just like that, as if the last 2 months hadn't existed, as if she hadn't shattered my heart and left me in total limbo for weeks. She entered the apartment without me inviting her and sat on the couch, took out her phone, and started talking about the wedding preparations like nothing. That we had to confirm the venue, that we had to send the invitations soon, that her dress was almost ready. I stood in the middle of the living room, watching her talk, and I felt this mixture of disbelief and rage that I can't even describe. When she finally paused, I told her, "Nicole, Do you really think we're going to continue as if nothing after what happened? She looked at me confused and told me, but I already told you. I'm sorry. I already made my decision and chose to be with you. What else do you want? I told her I needed her to give me back the engagement ring. She froze, looked at me like I had said the most absurd thing in the world, and asked me why. I explained to her that because obviously we weren't going to get married, that she had shown she wasn't ready for this commitment, that she couldn't just disappear, fool around with her ex, and then come back expecting everything to continue the same. She started crying, telling me I was exaggerating, that everyone has doubts before getting married, that she just needed to be sure. I told her that being sure doesn't mean going to explore options with your ex-boyfriend, that that's not having doubts, that's betraying your partner's trust. The argument got horrible. She cried and yelled that I was throwing her away, that after 4 years together I wasn't willing to forgive her for one mistake. I told her it wasn't a mistake, that it had been a conscious decision, that for weeks she had completely ignored me while she was with another guy, and that I wasn't going to be her plan B. Finally, through tears, she took off the ring and threw it at me, grabbed her suitcases, and left slamming the door. She left me alone in the apartment with the ring in my hand, and although I knew I had done the right thing, I'm not going to lie, it hurt like you have no idea. The following days were weird. I felt relieved but also sad, angry but also somewhat liberated. I don't know how to explain it. I was processing the end of a 4-year relationship and the end of a marriage engagement, and that's not something you get over in a week. Tyler came often to my apartment to make sure I was okay. He brought me food because I basically wasn't eating, and forced me to go out for walks or do something instead of staying thrown on the couch all day. It was like a week after the definitive breakup when I received a message from an unknown number. It was Olivia, a friend of Nicole's that I knew from some social gatherings. She told me she had heard what happened, that she wanted me to know that she thought Nicole had acted horribly, and that if I needed to talk to someone, she was there for me. It surprised me, honestly, because I assumed all of Nicole's friends would automatically be on her side. I thanked her for the message, and she told me that if I wanted, we could have coffee someday. No commitment, just as friends. A week later, we ended up meeting for that coffee. Olivia was nice, easy to talk to, and helped me see things from a different perspective. She told me that Nicole had always been kind of dramatic and impulsive, that several of her friends had told her what she did was wrong, but that she didn't want to listen. We talked for like 2 hours at that cafe, and at the end, she told me that if I wanted, we could have dinner one of these days, that she liked me, and was glad she could help me get through all this. I accepted. Like I thought having a new friend wasn't bad, and besides, I liked her. We had dinner the following Friday at a casual restaurant downtown. I had a good time. Olivia made me laugh, distracted me from all the drama, and for the first time in weeks, I felt normal, like myself again. There was nothing romantic. It was just two people having a good time. But I guess for Nicole, that didn't matter. Sunday morning, there was knocking on my apartment door with some super aggressive banging. I opened, and there was Nicole, with her face red with rage, yelling at me, how dare I go out with Olivia, that I hadn't wasted any time replacing her, that I was a traitor, and I don't know how many other things. I told her that first, she and I weren't together anymore, so I could do whatever I wanted. And second, that Olivia was just a friend, and she had nothing to worry about. Nicole didn't believe me, kept yelling. The neighbors started, peeking out their doors, and I had to tell her very clearly and firmly to leave my house immediately. I told her, Nicole, we broke up. What I do with my life is no longer your problem. You made your decision when you left with your ex. I made mine when I asked for the ring back. This is over, and you need to accept it. She tried to say something else, but I closed the door in her face. Like I wasn't going to keep arguing with her. I'd had enough. After that incident, I talked to Olivia and explained to her that although I really liked her and appreciated her support, I wasn't in a position to start anything with anyone, that I needed time to heal, and that I hoped we could continue being friends. She understood it perfectly, told me no problem, that she wasn't looking for anything serious either, that she just wanted to help. Since then, we've kept in touch, but each one on their own, without pressures or expectations. What followed was kind of disturbing. I started noticing that Nicole was following me. I saw her at the supermarket where I do my shopping, at the gym I go to, parked outside my work. At first, I thought they were coincidences, but after the fifth or sixth time, I knew they weren't. I sent her a message saying, "Seriously, Nicole, you need to stop. This is obsessive now and it's not okay. Let me move on with my life." She left me on read and didn't respond, but after that, she stopped appearing. At least I haven't seen her hanging around anymore. 3 months have passed since all this. The wedding obviously didn't happen. We had to cancel everything and lose some deposits, but honestly, that's the least of it. I've been in therapy processing all this, trying to understand why I held on so much to a relationship that clearly wasn't what I thought it was. My therapist tells me I did the right thing by setting boundaries and by not accepting being treated like a backup option, and I think she's right. There are good days and bad days. Days when I feel completely fine, and days when it still hurts to think about everything we lost, or rather, everything I thought we had but apparently was never real. My friends have supported me a ton. Tyler organizes movie nights or video game sessions to keep me distracted. Kara invites me to work out with her because she says it's good for getting out frustration, and little by little, I've started to feel more like myself. I've gone back to focusing on my work, on my hobbies, on the things that make me happy. The other day, I was organizing my closet and found a photo of Nicole and me on a vacation we took. 2 years ago, we were at the beach, smiling, looking completely in love. I looked at it for a long while and realized I didn't feel anything, neither sadness nor anger. Just like this calm acceptance that that stage of my life is over. I don't know what Nicole is doing now, if she went back to Jake or if she's alone or if she found someone else, and the truth is I don't care anymore. I blocked her social media because I don't need to know about her life, and she apparently has respected that I don't want contact with her. Sometimes I wonder if she ever really regretted it, if she understood what she did. But then I realize it doesn't matter, because her regret or lack of it doesn't change anything about what happened or the decision I made. What I do know is that I learned something important from all this, that you can't force anyone to be sure about you, and that if someone needs to leave to explore other options, it's because they're definitely not the right person for you, no matter how long you've been together or what plans you've made. I deserved someone who would choose me without doubts, without breaks or explorations, and Nicole wasn't that person. It hurt to discover it the way I did, but in the end, I saved myself from a marriage that probably would have been a disaster. Now I'm focused on myself, on healing, on growing, on enjoying my life without the weight of a relationship that was consuming me without me realizing it. A few days ago, Tyler asked me if I was ready to date someone again, and I told him not yet, that when the time comes, I'll know, but for now, I'm okay like this, just with myself. And it's true. I'm okay. Or at least every day I'm a little better than the day before, and I guess that's enough for now.